You know what really grinds my gears? False criticisms. What's up, guys? It's your boy KC, bringing a major mind to another major topic. And this one is major for sure. Star Wars The Last Jedi. Let's get it. So, I love Star Wars. I'm telling you, I love Star Wars. I've been watching it my whole life, right? I've seen The Last Jedi twice. And I enjoyed it, right? I have some problems, but I enjoyed it. What I haven't enjoyed is the hate it's getting online. Crazy. People are complaining and complaining and complaining about this movie, and I don't think it's necessarily fair. So I have 6 of their most major problems, and I have defenses for each one of them. Some of these defenses come from the movie itself, right? Straight up in the movie that people are either mistaking or just completely taken out of context or whatever, or just didn't pick up on. And some of these defenses are from the perspective of Star Wars as a whole, right? How we see Star Wars and how Star Wars is made, right? So let's get it. Oh, fair warning. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but let's talk some Star Wars. Number 1. Leia did her best Superman impersonation. Oh, Leia like Peter Quill. Oh, why is Leia flying through space? Leia did not fly. She did not fly. That is, no, this is number 1. It's a little lighter than the rest of them, but I'm telling you, this is annoying. Leia didn't fly. When they zoom into her, right, you can see when they zoom into her hand, the Force kind of propel space around her. It kind of expanded some of the debris and things like that. You could see that it was kind of creating like a life bubble in a way. That's kind of the best words I can come up with to kind of keep her alive, right? And what she did is she reached out and grabbed onto the ship with the Force and pulled herself into the back to the ship. She force pulled herself back to the ship. Force pulled. This is Star Wars. She did not fly. This was a force pull. Now, a lot of people might say, well, when did Leia learn how to use the Force? Leia didn't have to learn how to use the Force. Yoda says this in episode 5. In different words, of course, but the Force is about belief. The Force is not necessarily about training, which is why Anakin was using the Force in the pod race, which is why Luke was able to use the Force. Whether or not you knew it, you could tap into the Force if you believed, if you were trying to do something, if your resolve was that hard enough, or if you actually knew about the Force, right? Rey was able to do the Obi-Wan Kenobi because she knew it was possible, right? She knew Jedi could do things like that, right? 1. Now she knows that she has the power to do things like that. 2. Oh, let me try it. Boom. A plus B equals C, right? 2 plus 2 equals 4. So the Force isn't about training. It's about belief. Some have to be trained to believe, though, right? Luke kind of had to be trained to believe, right? Yoda had to show him, right? So, but Leia didn't fly. Leia did not fly. She force pulled herself into the ship because she had the will to. She wanted to. And come on, guys, you had to. When that happened, I was like, Leia's using the Force! Ah! Okay. Nombre tu. So these are in the order of chronologically, not in like importance necessarily. So I'm talking about these as how they come in the movie. The next thing, Finn and Poe, right? Their journeys, right? Finn and Poe are on the same journey, right? Here's the gripe, right? Canto Bite. Everybody's so mad about Canto Bite, right? But what people don't realize is Canto Bite had to happen. People are like, oh, this is the Star Wars prequels all over again. I like the Star Wars prequels, but still, people forget what Star Wars is. Star Wars is partially for kids. So that's the one thing you have to remember. Canto Bite had to happen. In the broad idea of Star Wars, you can't just have melodrama on a spaceship and melodrama on an island and nothing else. You have to have something for the families, right? Can't just be all melodrama in the Force. There has to be some kind of meat and cheese or bread, whatever you want to say. But it had to happen, right? Now, in the broad way. Now, in the story, it also kind of had to happen. Think about it, right? Once they realized, my only problem is that they pretty quickly realized that they were being tracked by the First Order. I was like, okay, how did you find that out? So like they just like Rose just kind of happened to know about that tech. Finn know about that tech. The fact that they knew about that tech was kind of right. But once you accept the fact that they know about that tech, could have took them longer to figure that out. Whatever. But once you realize that they know about that tech, how else are they gonna take it down? How else are they gonna take that tech down? Finn literally knows nobody's gonna like agree to this plan. He also wants to find a different place for Rey to show up in so she can be safe, right? So he's literally thinking to himself, what else can they do? Where else would somebody who is genius at hacking into governments and famous people's money, extorting people for money by being a code breaker, where else would that kind of person be except for like a very, very rich area where a lot of rich people are? Where else would that guy be? Come on. It makes perfect sense, right? It makes perfect sense that they had to go to Canto Bight.
3. Pick number 3, my lord.
Finn and Poe are on the same journey. When I said that, here's what I mean. Poe had to learn how to be the hero in the right way. He had to learn not to sacrifice too much to be the hero. He had to learn how to balance, right? Sacrifice and taking risk, right? So did Finn. If Finn doesn't leave and go on that completely inconsequential mission by the end, he wouldn't have had. He actually helped the First Order find the Resistance, just like Poe at the beginning helped get a bunch of the Resistance killed. They both had to realize that they were doing too much. You get what I'm saying? Right? They had to learn how to be the hero in the right way. So even though they took different routes, Finn and Poe were pretty much on the same journey, and I actually find that quite respectable from Rian Johnson. Even though some of the things on Canto Bight, like some of the CGI when they're riding on that horses, I didn't really like some of it, right? You guys can be all bitchy about Broomstick Boy and all them. I understand Star Wars is for kids. If I was a kid, I would have liked that. When I was a kid, I loved all the stuff on Tatooine in Episode 1. I loved all of Episode 1. It was my favorite. It was my absolute favorite Star Wars movie of all of them until I got like 18, 19. Okay? So Star Wars is that works for a lot of people. So let's just leave that alone. Point is, Canto Bight had to happen. Finn and Poe were on a similar journey. How else were they gonna find somebody in that situation? Why does everybody believe Kylo? Kylo could be lying. Rey's parents aren't nobody. That's so stupid. That's so boring. I don't believe Kylo. This is one of my biggest pet peeves with movie criticism. This is when you when you look at somebody and you go, "Did you actually watch the movie? Did you watch the movie?" Because you're saying something that didn't happen the way you're saying it. Kylo can't be lying, and even if he is lying, it doesn't matter if he's lying. Rey already knows. Rey already knows. The lines go, say it. You know who your parents are. You always know, say it. Say it. And Rey goes, they were nobody. And he goes, they're filthy drunk traders. Traded you off for drinking money. Okay, maybe they weren't filthy drunk traders and traded them off for money. Maybe Kylo's lying about that. But Rey says they were nobody. So is Rey lying? No, she saw it in the cave. It clicked on her. It dawned on her. And I think they were having a forced bond when she was in the cave. That's why she was explaining to him how she felt. And he saw it too. You get what I'm saying? Rey already knew. Kylo couldn't have lied to her, or I mean, even if he lied to her, he couldn't have swayed her in any way, shape, or form. He wasn't trying to get her to join the dark side by lying to her. He was trying to get her to join the dark side by being straight up honest with her, because he's the only one that was really being straight up honest with her. If you think of it, okay? So he was being purely honest, just like Darth Vader was being purely honest to Luke, and everybody, at least so I've been told, everybody in the 1980s was like, Vader's lying, Vader's lying, Vader's lying, until Return of the Jedi came out in that scene where Luke talks to Yoda and he goes, so he is my father. You get what I'm saying? And he goes, your father, he is. You know what I'm saying? So Kylo was not lying. And even if he was lying, it doesn't matter because Rey already knew. Watch the movie. Oh.
Número 5.
And on top of that, those of you that say that's a boring answer, it kind of is. It kind of is a boring answer. It's not super exciting, but it is arguably the hardest answer Rey could have heard. She wants to bond with her parents again. She wants to know that they could come back or that she could rekindle that flame. To know that they're nobody and that they sold her, she's an orphan, for real. They're not coming back. They're not coming back. And that is why, I should say, I think Rian Johnson put it in there. Because he wanted Rey to have the hardest time with this answer that she could possibly have. Which is why a lot of people, including us, are also having that problem. Because it's the toughest answer to hear. Damn it, they're nobody. We all wanted them, including Rey, we all wanted them to be somebody. Which is why it's so effective that they aren't. You go Rian Johnson for that. Again. Watch the movie.
Number 6.
Oh, why didn't Luke go with Rey? Why did Kylo and Rey have to have so much comedy in their little Force bond? Why did Luke die? He took the easy way out. Let's get to it. Luke was not ready for Rey. Luke was not ready for Rey. What a lot of people don't realize, and I'm not going to fault you for this, you don't have to search into the lore of what's happening behind the scenes of these movies, the canon, right? You don't have to dive into that, but Luke's only been on this island for a couple years. It hasn't been that long. It really has not been that long. Luke is trying to take himself out of this. He's not ready for Rey. So when Rey shows up, hands him the lightsaber, I understand the whole, people being mad about the comedy. I actually enjoyed most of it, right? But he doesn't want her there. He doesn't want anything to do with that lightsaber, right? He doesn't want to go back to the resistance and the fight and the war, right? Because what you guys don't realize is, what is Rey really saying to him? Come back and save us. From what exactly, though? Because Rey doesn't know that the resistance ship is being tracked by the Force Order right now. She doesn't know that. She's just telling him to come back to the fray and just be part of the family again, right? And Luke's like, okay, but I've done some shit in my past, and I'm not really ready to do all that right now. I'm good. I'm just trying to fade off into the background. I can understand that, right? We not may agree with that, but that's what they're telling us. That's what he's doing. You may not have want that, but that's who Luke is at this point. That's what he wants. You may not like that, but that's what he wants, right? He wants to be left alone. She just wants him to come back into the fray. But there's nothing, it's not like, Snoke has Leia. We need you to save him. Save her. That would be like, oh shit, I gotta go save my sister. Right? You get what I'm saying? But there's no immediate, you have to get back for this specific thing. It's just come back and just help us with whatever. Right? Train me. You know what I'm saying? No, you're just telling me to do a bunch of things I don't want to do. I completely agree with that. I know exactly what Luke is saying. So he's not ready. So when he sees her talking to Kylo on the island, he's like, what the fuck? No! No, you can't, this can't happen. Go, get away from me, get away from me. Ben is bad, and you're gonna go bad too, canoodling with him and all that stuff. So when she tells him to come back, he's just completely not ready. But as she leaves, I think it starts to dawn on him. And once he talks to Yoda, it clicks. But she's already gone. Luke was not ready when she was there. When he is, she is gone. So what else is Luke supposed to do? Pull his X-Wing out of the ocean? It's been in there for years. This is not like episode 5 when it was 2 feet under pond water for who knows, at most a couple days to a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing like that, right? Not to mention they had already tried to pull it out once and it kind of came out and fell back down. It was right there on the surface. This thing is at least a few feet deep in seawater, probably planted on a rock for years. He's not pulling that X-Wing out. That's the same X-Wing that was in the pond. You think that thing's getting dunked twice and pulled back out? Stop it. Stop it. He has no way of getting back to the fray when he finally is ready to save them. When there is an actual danger, by the way. When there is an actual problem, right? Kylo and the First Order are about to bomb, like about to storm this rebel base and kill everybody, right? Or take prisoners, whatever. That's when he shows up, when there's actually a problem. He's like, oh, there's a real problem now. I feel it. Let me show up. And he shows up the best way and the only way he could. And here's my big defense. The easy way out? Luke did die. You realize Luke killed himself, right? Like, isn't that the ultimate sacrifice? No, he wasn't physically there in person to take a lightsaber through his chest, but he still died. Either way, he was gonna pass on to the Force, become a Force ghost, just like Obi-Wan. Either way, it was gonna happen, right? Why did he have to get his head chopped off, or actually get blown up by all those walkers, right? Why did that actually have to happen? It didn't. And even though I was mad about that at first, I was like, why did Luke have to die? I realized if he had shown up, he was on a suicide mission either way. He was going to stand there on that field and let them get away. Let his sister and all them get away. He was going to let himself die. He was going to take his life for his friends and his family either way, because he knew Kylo was done for. Kylo was not coming back. And he wasn't physically there to kill him. He wasn't physically there to kill him. So it's not like he was going to kill Kylo. And that probably still wouldn't have worked, considering the whole First Order was there, pretty much. You get what I'm saying? So Luke took the ultimate sacrifice once he realized that it was actually necessary. So back off, Luke.
In conclusion,
So yeah, that's pretty much it. My big problems with the movie: Snoke should have known that Kylo was turning the lightsaber. He should have known. It was right there next to him. And even if he couldn't see it, peripherals, right? Snoke's got fucked up peripherals. He should have felt it because he had just pulled that lightsaber all over the fucking room. So that's my big thing. Also, Holdo should have told Poe. Holdo should have just told Poe, right? Like, we're fucking escaping in the only way possible. Motherfucker, sit down, right? Like, Holdo should have told Poe. But that's pretty much it, man. Everything else is in the movie, okay? So this was a great movie, you guys. I think it gets better as you watch it. The humor lands for me for the most part. This is a good movie. It's a very good movie. Honestly, my favorite Star Wars movies are kind of tied. It's like 5, 6 in this one. But either way, I love this movie. I could have loved it more, right? I could have loved it more. I'm not gonna lie. There's like the way this movie like went about. I was like, I just thought this movie would be different, right? But you guys can't. What you can't do, at least you can, but you can't act like it's fair. You can't act like you're right to want something from a movie, not get it, and therefore say the movie's bad. You have to critique the movie as it is, right? This in the movie doesn't make sense because of this in the movie. Not, I didn't want Luke to do that, so therefore this movie is garbage. It doesn't work like that. The people who are making the movie aren't on the same wavelength as you when they're making the movie. They're not thinking, oh, that guy in El Paso, Texas really, really hates the idea of a force projection. I don't know if we should do that. You get what I'm saying? That's not how it works, you guys. All right? So I'll talk to you guys next time. Keep a major mind.